So whilst the next was coming up, I can't help reminiscing, having the prize going to Medtronic, that my very first job as a houseman in 1977 was for a very distinguished diabetologist called Sir John Nabarro. And the job of the houseman really should have been called the Ames Metership, because the job was to go around every diabetic in the hospital and prick their fingers 4 times a day, and then prescribe the dose of insulin. And it was rather sweet because the consultant at the time, it was delegated to the SHO, but he would write in pencil on the prescription chart what he thought the dose might be. But we've moved a long way from 4 finger pricks a day, multiple doses of insulin, to now an automated system with a sensor for glucose that can administer the right dose of insulin in real time. This is just one example of the many extraordinary technological innovations we've seen. Right. So, in the category of the best vaccine, the winner of the 22 Prix Galien International is BioNTech Pfizer for Comirnaty.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the ambassador of BioNTech Pfizer tonight.
An army on the stage. This is when I regret not having written notes, but I would like first of all to thanks the committee, because we feel really privileged tonight to be here accepting this award on behalf of all the colleagues at BioNTech and Pfizer. It's a true honor. 2 years ago, it was April 2020, a few of us were sitting in an empty office in Mainz in Germany, and we were preparing the documents for the first clinical trial of our COVID-19 vaccine. 8 months later, we received the first approvals for the same vaccine, the first conditional marketing authorizations, the first emergency use authorizations. And actually, the first one came from the United Kingdom under Regulation 174 in the very beginning of December 2020. It was a very intense time, wasn't it? 8 months from the first in human to start to the first approvals, it's incredible, honestly. I think it's unprecedented. We've been asked many times, how was it possible? What was the secret behind it? And I always believe that my answer is kind of disappointing, because it's honestly just hard work, I would say, from BioNTech and Pfizer colleagues, of course, but also all the suppliers, the vendors, the manufacturers, and the governments and the regulators, all the reviewers in the different agencies. A lot of people have been working literally around the clock for months to make sure that COVID-19 vaccines could be delivered as soon as possible to curb the pandemic and try and go back to normal. And indeed, if we think where we are now, if I think only our vaccine, I think we do have more than 3 billion doses distributed in more than 170 countries in the world. Just 1.4 billion doses in low and middle income countries. I think this is an impressive achievement. This is an outstanding scientific achievement. And it's important that we celebrate that. It's also important, in my view, that we remember the impact that the pandemic had and it's still having on our lives. How many lives were lost to COVID in the last 2 years? How many families lost someone? The impact it had on our society, on our workplaces, on our jobs, on our economy. It's not just about celebrating, it's also about learning from this experience. What can we do best? How we can improve our response to this pandemic that is not over yet, and for the next pandemic that we hope it will never come, but we need to be prepared. And we can learn a lot from this experience. And also how we can translate this experience into other areas. You know that we are all believers in the RNA technology since the very beginning, and we thought seriously it would have been the ideal tool to address the COVID-19 pandemic. Now more than ever, we think that we have a mission to leverage the full potential of this technology beyond the pandemic in the infectious diseases space and in other therapeutic areas like oncology. Let me just say, and I'm going to close, that it's been really a privilege for me personally to work side by side with amazing colleagues at Pfizer in the last 2 years. We never really had a chance to meet in person. So I would also like to thank you for giving us the opportunity of meeting them here today. Some of them, at least. It's already impressive. Kina, please.
It's hard to top that. Thank you, Ruben. As you can see, it's been a remarkable journey. And I think an award such as this around a COVID-19 vaccine can't go without thanking all of the amazing science that took place many decades before. So I will only name a few names, but obviously there are too many to mention. Robert Malone, Katie Carrico, Jason McClellan, and many others. So thanks to all of the scientists before us, and obviously the partnership with BioNTech has been crucial, marrying our R&D strengths to make this a possibility. So not only the science, but also the partnership piece has been critical. The partnership with the investigators, as well as the families and participants in the clinical trials, and the partnership of our families, the long days and long nights. I know many of you, I'm sure, in all of your projects have been involved in to make it a possibility. So I'll just end on a quick personal note. I think what really has brought this to the heart is seeing the joy I think that this vaccine has brought to families in making, a path out of COVID-19, hopefully a reality. My own daughter receiving the vaccine was not just joy, but also hope. Hope that an RNA technology could not just address the COVID-19 pandemic, but maybe future diseases around the world. So thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask all winners to please join us on stage for a picture? Thank you.
Whilst they're all coming up, I think it's only fair to say that the only reason we are all here tonight in person together, not at all socially distanced, is because of the vaccines and because of the vaccine companies, both those that are here and those that are not here tonight as well. It is the vaccines that have got us through.